Severe called up psychic bubbles to help protect her comrades, but watched with despair as the onslaught against them quickly rendered them useless. She quickly conjured a large force of energy to press back a wave of attackers that were encroaching on Sue. "Thanks," Sue thought to her as she continued to blast back her attackers. Dementia's knight used his power over negative and shadow energy to conceal himself long enough to get the jump on a group of 4 cloaked thorns. The 4 fell quickly, crushed under the might of his shadow punch and smite attacks. The demon that got the drop on Knight soon after was more resilient however, and Knight's neck snapped quickly after he slammed into the wall behind him. "Knight's down, everyone try and get back together." Severe broadcasted her orders to the rest of the team's minds. "Little busy here, but I'll be there shortly." Arson thought back to her as she summoned a large flaming tornado to engulf a dozen or so of the winged skeletal apparitions. Arson flew upward and back to where Severe was. She was struck from behind by a blast of dark energy from one of the leftover demons and faltered enough for one of the cloaked thorns to fire several shards of ice at her, taking one in the chest and another in the stomach. She felt the air leave her as she descended to the ground rapidly, and then darkness took its hold. "Arson!" Jessica shouted as she saw the young hero fall to the ground, blood-soaked ice crystals protruding sickeningly from her body. With an angry growl, Jessica leapt at the ice-casting thorn and sliced him clean in half. Turning around, Jessica obliterated a group of demons with a monstrous blast of energy from her gauntlets. Jessica was in a fury. She was hacking and blasting foes to her left and right, and still they kept coming. "This is starting to get old," she shouted as she sliced her way into another mob. "I agree, child," Ataris said as he wrenched his axe from another demon. Ataris and Jessica stood back to back in the center of a horde of enemies, the odds decidedly against them. Severe and Sue hovered overhead and fought back as many of the demons as they could, but Sue had suffered a life-threatening blow from one of the larger demons that had managed to get a hold of her as she flew past him. She winced as she looked down again at the mortal wound in her gut that his large claw had created. "Severe, can you broadcast my thoughts to Jessica?" Sue asked as she flew up higher to get away from the battle. "You can start whenever you're ready, Sue," Severe said as she forced back another group of attackers to allow herself to maintain focus. "Jessica, I'm sorry that I couldn't help you win this fight. I want you to know that you're the best thing that's happened in my life, and I'm grateful for every moment that we've spent together. I will always be with you," Sue thought to Jessica as she fought to stay conscious long enough to say her goodbye. "Sue, don't talk like that. You're gonna be fine, we can do this," Jessica thought back to her, but got only silence as a response. Amongst the sea of evil attackers, she couldn't see the body of Sue Radiance laying lifeless under their footfalls. With tears streaming down her face, Jessica mounted her attack toward Hannah by leaping onto the back of a winged demon as it flew overhead. "Severe, can you toss me toward Hannah?" she asked the albino telepath. "Yeah. Ready?" Severe asked. Jessica leapt off the demon and was propelled by an unseen force toward Hannah. Landing in front of the emerald-haired villainess, she felt her hatred well up inside of her. She screamed and thrust her sword at Hannah, missing her as she took to the air. "Oh, isn't that sweet, baby's first sword," Hannah said as she looked down at Jessica. "How about I give you baby's first funeral, would you like that?" she asked as she blasted at Jessica with her radiation, sending Jessica flying backward into the mob she'd just escaped.